Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So we're on chapter Bab Bir al-Aqrab fil-Aqrab, not al-Aqrab. Al-Aqrab fil-Aqrab. Alright, so this is the showing righteousness to the closest relative and then the next closest relative. So obviously you start with the righteousness to the mother, then to the father, and to whoever the nearest relative is after that. So if the grandfather's alive, the grandmother's alive, the father's brother's alive, you put the closest relative in line for the next, for the righteousness. So this is what it's talking about. قال الإمام البخاري رحمه الله تعالى حدثنا حيوة بن شريح قال حدثنا بقية. And a baqiyah here, I believe, if I'm, like 95% sure that baqiyah here is Baqiyat ibn Walid. Baqiyat ibn Walid is a mudallis. And here he called, and here you see the an-ana, because it says Baqiyatu an Bahir. So because he's not known, he's a mudallis, and in this scenario called an-ana. So he said an Bahir. So the hadith, as far as the chain of narration, is not authentic, but that you'll see that there, as far as the shawahid for the hadith, and that's what makes the hadith authentic. But the actual chain, because of baqiyah and because of the an-ana, then the chain is weak. An Bahir and Khalid ibn Ma'dan and al-Miqdam ibn Ma'di Karib radiyallahu anhu annahu sami'a Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam yaqul إن الله يوصيكم بأمهاتكم ثم يوصيكم بأمهاتكم ثم يوصيكم بآبائكم ثم يوصيكم بالأقرب فالأقرب. So here you see from Al-Miqdam ibn Ma'di Karib, he said that he heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you a wasiyah. And wasiyah is what?
Something like I know what it is.
It's like an advice, it advises you for your mother, to show righteousness to your mother. ثُمَّ يُوصِيكُم بِأُمَّهَاتِكُم, and then to your mothers. But here he said ummahatikum because it's number one is for everybody, and number two is for the mother, the mother's mother, the mother's mother's mother, whoever's alive at the time. ثُمَّ يُوصِيكُم بِآبَائِكُم, and then he advises you to, gives you the advice of showing righteousness to your fathers. ثُمَّ يُوصِيكُم بِالْأَقْرَبِ فَالْأَقْرَبِ, then the closest, what did I say? أقرب بالحمزة. عين أول. What are you talking about? Oh, قاء. That's what you're talking about. Yeah. أقرب. Sorry, man. A little bit lazy tonight. I'm still suffering from that brain flatulence from the other day.
What's the brain freeze?
Well, because we had Ben and Jerry's last night, so I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with the book in hand. As normally I wouldn't be here the next day. I wouldn't recover. So, all right. So then he gives you, he advises you to continue to show righteousness to the closest and to the closest relative. Like I said, the chain of narration is not sahih, but because of baqiyah and his an-ana. But the shawahid, as we've seen, multiple authentic ahadith that carry the same meaning. We've seen this from the beginning of this book, from the second and third chapters. We've seen this. So as far as the shawahid and as far as like other ahadith propping this hadith up, then yes. So you say that the hadith is hasan bi shawahidihi. All right, bi shawahid.
Right.
What did Shaykh al-Albani say?
Sahih, not hasan. People sahih.
I can't say sahih because baqiyah is a mudallis. Yeah, I'm saying, but yeah. Baqiyah is a mudallis and he an-ana, so the chain of narration, we're dealing with this chain. We're not dealing with the meaning of the hadith. The meaning of the hadith is sahih. And we see that from we've seen that from so many different hadith. And you see it in the Quran. So So, I mean, as far as the meaning, yeah, the meaning is sahih, but the chain of narration is Hasan bi Shawahidi.
I remember we were talking about the meaning of the wasiyah. So like in Surah An-Nisa where Allah said, وَلَقَدْ وَصَّيْنَا الَّذِينَ. So right here, would that mean, and then we have certainly advised, correct me? Would that be a valid?
If you want like the correct, clear, let's go to Lisan al-Arab. I got my phone today actually. Because I'll go tell him to look up a word and he'll end up on www.binbaz.com. So Sheikh bin Baz says the meaning is this, and go to Lisan al-Arab and look up what the word means. But so just to avoid that conflict.
I'm just saying, like if I was explaining it to someone, like in English, وَلَقَدْ وَصَّيْنَا الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ وَإِيَّاكُمْ.
You gotta look that up in Hands Where then. As far as like if you want the English translation.
In Hands Where?
Yeah, the English Arabic dictionary. Huh? There's already comments or
Yeah, about me too.
good. Going to Sheikh bin Baz's website for everything. That's just good. I mean, alhamdulillah, you go back to the ulama, but I tell you to look up a hadith, look it up on a website for a hadith. There's already comments. It says ahida ilayhi. So وصى فلانا وصى إلى فلان أوصاه جعله وصيا على. No, that's for the wasiya. But it says ahad. So like whenever you see like وَلَقَدْ وَصَّيْنَا الَّذِينَ عَهِدْنَا لَهُمْ, this is an ahad between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and them. Like you have to do this. So when we say like for example ثُمَّ يُوصِيكُمْ بِآبَائِكُمْ, this is an ahad, like, this is basically showing an obligation upon you to fulfill this duty upon you. So I mean, as far as like what the English word, you'd have to look that up in the Hands Where.
Could we say like for the translation, and if we have placed upon you, and those who like, and like we say like, and indeed we have placed upon those who attain the scripture before you, and you.
No, it's a contractual. It's a contractual obligation. You got life, you got everything. Now this is fulfill your end of the contract, fulfill your end of the bargain. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's provided for you, He's given you life, and He's given you guidance, and He's given you all these things. Now here, this is a part of this contract. Fulfill it. Part of this contract is be righteous to your mother. Fulfill that contract. A part of this contract to be righteous to your father. Fulfill that contract. A part of this contract is to fulfill the rights, also of the closest relatives, the ones nearest to you. So fulfill that obligation upon you. So that's a contractual thing. And as we know, if a person does not abide by a contract, then what happens to him? He gets fired. Fire. You see? Fired.
For which one?
If a person does not abide by his contract, he gets what?
Oh,
fired. Jahannam. Okay, fire. It's a play on words, because we say he's fired from his job, but no, you're gonna get fired in real life, like really fired, if you don't abide by this contract.
Also, one time, alhamdulillah, you taught us. I remember it was the first class you taught us this. And you said that you cannot say God when it comes to Allah. Allah said in Surah Al-Baqarah, I just want to know how to translate. Allah said in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَإِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ الرَّحْمَنُ الرَّحِيمُ وَإِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ. How do we translate this?
You have to go back and look up the original meanings of these words, because a lot of people, I would translate it, وَإِلَهُكُمْ, the deity or the God. But see, the thing about the word deity, I don't know the origins of that word. A lot of these words, man, in the English language, a lot of them, they have their roots and origins in witchcraft, because you got to understand, like, it comes from Britain. Britain was not a Christian country. Christian, and like, you know what I'm saying, it was not dominated by Christianity. They were Druids.
Jewish, is it?
Druids, which is a form of witchcraft. That's the original religion. Christianity came to them much, much later, and you see that even now they're not. It's not like Christianity is not a major thing with them. It never was. So their origins are not. They don't have those types of Christians or Christian type origins because number one, they weren't under the authority of the Roman Empire. So therefore, they weren't under the authority of the Catholic Church and all this type of stuff. So you see that they were kind of outside of that. So I mean, their original religion was paganism, which is Druidism, which is witchcraft. It's witchcraft and worshiping jinn, basically. So you see, like a lot of the words that they have in the English language, they have those origins that go back to witchcraft. And you see that throughout the whole time. Oh, it worked like a charm. It worked like a charm.
Third time's a charm.
Huh?
They say third time's a charm.
Third time's a charm. Oh, he captivated. What did they say? He entranced the audience.
Step on the crack.
You know, or what happens when you kick a kid out of a school? You expel him. The expulsion, it comes from when you do an exorcism and you get the jinni out of the person. So you're getting the jinni out of the school so the school will act right. So you're expelling them. So all of this goes and has its roots back into exorcism. So it was a brother it was an American brother. He was in Yemen. And he was doing, like, he said he was going to do research on this because he was talking about the origins of all these words in the English language. He said he wanted to compile a book on all the words that have the origins in witchcraft. I really wish he would do that.
Are you taking questions right now?
No. All right. حدثنا موسى بن إسماعيل قال حدثنا الخزرج ابن عثمان أبو الخطاب السعدي قال أخبرني أبو أيوب سليمان مولى عثمان بن عفان قال جاءنا أبو هريرة رضي الله عنه عشية الخميس ليلة الجمعة. So here's a refutation of for Hamza. Because he always jumps on our case and says, no, it's not. Right now, he said, Ashiyat al-Khamis, Laylat al-Jumu'ah. So he said what? He mentioned them both. He said, Ashiyat al-Khamis. It means this is the time of Isha on what was Yawm al-Khamis, but it's Laylat al-Jumu'ah. But he said, Ashiyat al-Khamis, yani Laylat al-Jumu'ah. So you see that they used them both. So now you can relax whenever somebody says, because we come in here and say it's Friday night. He's like, no, it's not, it's Saturday night. But here you see Ashiyat al-Khamis, Laylat al-Jumu'ah.
The first day of Ramadan started because we go do something. That's why I didn't know about that.
Yes, nice evidence. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Is it live?
No, it doesn't matter. It's even if it's da'if, it was still narrated way back then. So it still shows that they use those types of wordings. All right, ليلة الجمعة فقال أحرج على كل قاطع رحم لما قام من عندنا فلم يقم أحد حتى قال ثلاثة فأتى فتى عمة له قد صرمها منذ سنتين فدخل عليها فقال له يا ابن أخي ما جاء بك؟ قال سمعت أبا هريرة يقول كذا وكذا. قالت ارجع إليه فسأله لما قال ذاك. قال سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إن أعمال بني آدم تعرض على الله تبارك وتعالى عشية كل خميس ليلة الجمعة فلا يقبل عمل قاطع الرحم. All right. So here Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, here the Mawla Sulaiman Mawla Uthman ibn Affan, he went to Abu Hurairah on Thursday night, Friday, or the night of Friday. All right. فقال وحرجوا على كل قاطع رحم لما قام من عندنا فلم يقوم أحد حتى قال ثلاثا. So he said وحرجوا على كل قاطع رحم. What does that mean? تحريج is like what? Tahrij, it could mean like difficulty. Tahrij, it can mean tashaddu, like, you know, like basically y'all get out of here, you know, like anybody that has this quality and you like taharraj alayhim. So you're kind of like putting like pressure on them and like making them feel like kind of embarrassed, you know, making them feel like shy. So like, and this is what he's talking about. He said, فَقَالَ أُحَرِّجُ عَلَى كُلِّ قَاطِعِ الرَّحْمِ. He said, أُحَرِّجُ عَلَى كُلِّ, you know, so basically he's speaking like, you know, in a strong manner against anybody who has cut off the ties of kinship. لَمَّا قَامَ مِنْ عِنْدِنَا. So to get up and leave us, like don't even be around us. فَلَمْ يَقُمْ أَحَدٌ حَتَّى قَالَ ثَلَاثًا. And nobody stood up until he said it what? 3 times. Abdul Malik, save the questions for after the hadith, inshallah, because the hadith is more important than any question anybody has. All right, so he said, لَمَّا قَامَ مِنْ عِنْدِنَا فَلَمْ يَقُمْ أَحَدٌ. So he was speaking, you know, strong about this until like he didn't want anybody basically with this type of characteristic to be around him. فَأَتَى فَتًى عَمَّةً لَهُ. So and then one of the youth, he went to his mother's sister, or no, I'm sorry, his father's sister. His father's sister, you know, his aunt, and قد صرمها قد قطعها منذ سنتين. So sarama, it means here, it means قطعها. It means so he went to this aunt that he hasn't spoken to, and he cut her off, and he basically, you know, left her and doesn't talk to her for 2 years. فدخل عليها. So he entered into where she was at. فقالت له, and she said to him, يا ابن أخي, oh the son of my brother, ما جاء بك, what brought you here? قال سمعت أبو هريرة يقول كذا وكذا. I heard Abu Huraira, he said this and he said this. She said, go back to him, ارجع إليه فاسأله, and ask him, لما قال ذاك, why did he say what he said? And he said, قال سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول, and then he said that I heard the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم say that إن أعمال بني آدم تعرض, that the actions of the children of Adam, they are presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the ashiyat kulli khamis, and the night of every Thursday, on Thursday evening, which is the night Friday night, the night of Friday. فَلَا يَقْبَلُ عَمَلَ قَاطِعِ رَحْمًا. He does not accept any action from a person who has cut off ties of kinship. So anybody that has cut off those ties of kinship, he does not accept any action from them. The hadith is da'if, and it goes back to Al-Khazraj, 2 people, Al-Khazraj and Abu Ayyub, because they both have like very fihima lean. Like lean, it means like it's very, very lean. It means what? It's like softness, like, you know. But their hadith is really, it's very, very weak. Basically, it's very soft. You know, there's no quwwah in their hadith. So the hadith itself is. What did Shaykh Al-Albani say about it?
This is a ضعيف, I think إرواء العليل, assuming that's his book, and then ليس في شيء من الكتب الستة.
All right, so it's Khazraj, what is his name? Ayyub, right? Abu Ayyub. It says أخبرني أبو أيوب سليمان مولى عثمان بن عفان. So he's the one that narrated that from Abu Hurairah. And then before that, Al-Khazraj. حدثنا موسى بن إسماعيل قال حدثنا الخزرج ابن عثمان أبو الخطاب السعدي. So both of them, they have like softness in their hadith. All right, but the hadith lahu shawahid, and we have a hadith from Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu which is authentic, where the Prophet, where he said, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال اليد العليا خير من اليد السفلى وابدأ بمن تعول وخير صدقة عن ظهر الغنى. Alright, ومن يستعفف يعفه الله. Now that's not that. What did I write that for? That has nothing to do with this hadith. No. What did I write that for? That's probably for the other hadith. I wrote that as a note, but now that has nothing to do with it. But the hadith that I'm talking about is the hadith about the Arab al-A'mal. It's also an Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu, in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Tu'radu," he said, "Tu'radu al-a'mal yawm al-ithnain wa yawm al-khamis, wa ahibbu an ish, and tu'radu amali wa ana ish, a'mali wa ana sa'im." All right, and this hadith is in Sunan al-Tirmidhi. All right, Sunan al-Tirmidhi, and the hadith is authentic, and it is narrated by Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu. So that is authentic. So that aspect of the hadith is sahih. There's shawahid for that. But as far as the actions not being accepted because on those 2 days because of the qati rahim, you could say that there probably are shawahid for that too, but not directly. Not directly. But as far as the arad al-a'mal, that is authentic. Alright, the next hadith, حدثنا محمد بن عمران ابن أبي ليلى قال حدثنا أيوب ابن جابر الحنفي عن آدم بن علي عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما ما أنفق الرجل على نفسه وأهله يحتسبها إلى آجره الله تعالى فيها وابدأ بمن تعول فإن كان فضلا فالأقرب فالأقرب وإن كان فضلا فناول. Alright, this hadith is ضعيف شديد الضعف. Ayub ibn Jabr. Ayub ibn Jabr al-Hanafi, Shadid al-Dhaf. Even some of the people have even gone so far. Well, it's just Shadid al-Dhaf. I know that's a different individual where they said he's Kadhab. That wasn't him, but he's Shadid al-Dhaf. What did Shaykh al-Albani say?
This was right here. ضعيف الإسناد فيه شيخ المؤلف محمد بن عمران ابن أبي ليلى عن أيوب ابن جابر الحنفي ضعيفان. قد صح من حديث أبي هريرة مرفوعا نحوه.
That was the other. That was where I brought the hadith. I wrote it up here for that, not for this. That was the hadith I was talking about. قال اليد العليا خير من اليد السفلى. So the upper hand is better than the lower hand. And what is the upper hand?
Ruler?
No, the one who's giving money. The sufla is the one who's asking for it. So he's talking about al-yad al-ulya khayrun min al-yad al-sufla. So the upper hand is better than the lower hand. So the one who's giving it, because he's the one who's giving charity, he gets rewarded for it. But the one who's what? He's asking, and and it depends on the situation. If he needs to ask or if he doesn't need to ask, then then that's a whole different thing. So he's the one taking. So he's not getting any ajr for what he's doing. So of course the upper hand is better than the lower hand. He said, خَيْرٌ مِنَ الْيَدِ السُّفْلَى وَابْدَأْ بِمَنْ تَعُولُ. And what does that mean?
تعول.
Ta'ul. Start with the people who are under your responsibility. All right, like for example, your wife, your children, and the people that are under your responsibility. So when you have money, you don't just give it to strangers and your family doesn't have what they need. You understand? So you give your family. You make sure that your family's taken care of, that they have all the necessities that they need.
It would be mandatory for to say, give the money back to your mother and stuff like that, right?
Well, your mother right now, it depends on the situation. If your mother is already, like for example, if your father's alive and he's taking care of your mother, then your mother's taken care of. If your mother's in need and you're the only one who's able to support her, then now it's an obligation on you to support your mother. But otherwise, if the father's still working or the father has a business or whatever, and he's still taking care of the mother, then the mother's taking care of. You take care of your children. You take care of your family. Before you go out and give charity out in the streets, you make sure that your family is taken care of first. So he said that's what he means by وَابْدَأْ بِمَنْ تَعُولُ. Whoever is under your taklif, that you're like mukallaf bihim, the people that are underneath your.
Could that also go as to like siblings as well?
No.
So no. For example, with the mother part, like let's say the mother.
No, it's the people that are under your care, your wife and your children.
Just your circle, your house.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now your siblings are not an obligation upon you, unless they don't have something they need. They're coming to you. They're in need, and you're the only one that can assist them. But if you have a sister, she has a husband. Her husband, it's his job to take care of her, not your job. All right, and the same thing with their kids. It's their job to take care of their kids. But if they can't take care of them, and you're the only one, then and then you take on that responsibility, and that's on you.
Is it true in a Muslim country if there's a widow and she absolutely has no man, no uncle, no nothing to support her? Is it true that it's mandatory upon the Muslim ruler to support her, like financially?
It's a farad kifaya. So as long as somebody supports her, somebody looks out for her. Because obviously we can't have anybody just sitting here dying of hunger, while everybody's eating, throwing away half a chicken at a restaurant. You know, if you go to a lot of restaurants, Saudi, Yemen, even in Yemen, which Yemen is a poor country, but you go to any restaurant, you can literally live off of the food that's left on the tables after.
Especially the food that they throw away. Like it'd be a whole bag, like filled with food.
No, they don't. Uh, oh, let me see. In Yemen, it depends. If
Like at Krispy Kreme, the one on Blackstone. You heard that like at closing time they throw away so much.
No, in America, you have to throw the stuff away. You have to. The people have to go get it out the garbage. But nah, in Yemen, they could give it away if they want to, you know. But the thing is,
If I had that robe, I would throw it away. I would put it up somewhere.
you put it. I mean, what you can do is that you're the one that.
And imagine a Muslim on top of that, having that type of job.
I mean, you're the one. If you take on the responsibility all the time of saying, I got the garbage, and then you go and you put that stuff away, and then you put it and hide it somewhere and you let people know, like, hey, I'm going to put the food there where they can come and get it. You know, they don't have to dig out of the garbage and get it or something like that. And yeah, but otherwise, when you got the managers watching you here and all that type of stuff, they're going to make sure, like, you got to throw it in the garbage. So, but that's just kufar. They're wasteful. And that's, and that's why you see the situation that you see in the country right now, where all the prices are going up, food's getting smaller and more expensive because of all the waste. But he said, بِمَنْ تَعُولُ وَخَيْرُ صَدَقَةً, and the best of all sadaqah, and what? عَنْ ظَهْرِ الْغِنَى. And what? So like when you're like when you got the money, you got rich and you're enjoying it, and you're enjoying the money, and you're attached to it, and giving away something that you're attached to is obviously going to be better than giving away something that you're what? And not attached to. When somebody has, worked and tried to get rich, and then finally Allah's opened the doors for him, and now he has this attachment to this money, and he doesn't want to go back to poverty, and he's really, really holding on to that money. It's harder for him to give charity than it is for a person who just grew up rich and he doesn't really care, So that's what he's talking about. The best of all charities is that person, when you got that attachment to it, and you don't want to relinquish that attachment, because now you know what poverty feels like. You know what it feels like to not have money. So you don't want to even spend a dime. You want everything to stay with you, because you don't ever want to go back to feeling the way you used to feel. So he said, and then after that he said, وَمَنْ يَسْتَعْفِفْ يَعْفِهُ اللَّهُ. يَسْتَعْفِفْ here, it means what?
Like whoever goes out of his way to cover himself.
Well, here it means like as far as money. Al-ifa, as far in regards to, he doesn't go out begging. He doesn't go out and do things that are haram to get the money. So, and so here, if he protects that, his honor and his, and he doesn't lower himself, just because of money, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to protect him and protect that in him. He said, "Man yastaghni," and whoever becomes sufficient, he puts his trust in Allah, and he leaves any need for the people. يُغْنِهِ اللَّهُ, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make him rich from the people. And this hadith is in Bukhari. So from this aspect of the hadith, that's the shahid. That's the shahid for the hadith that says that aspect of the hadith is sahih, even though the chain of narration is da'if. Huh? ايش؟
I see the green light.
Oh, it's on you. I don't know yours. Why? Yeah. You can't hear it. You can just almost let me turn this mic off, dude. All right, any questions from here?
Well, this one mentioned Sheikh Mufrad, so I'm going to mention this one first. In honor of Sheikh Mufrad. Okay. Can I read Islam QA, because I heard that Sheikh Mufrad didn't like Muhammad Saleh Manajid, or do I only have to avoid specific articles? Because I heard he supports Khawarij.
I don't know what, I mean, what are they reading it in English and Arabic?
That's the question.
Because I mean, if you're looking at things in Arabic, you got, Sheikh Uthaymeen's website, you got Sheikh Baz's website. So I don't know. I mean, English, I don't know what websites exist. I don't know what websites exist. So, and I don't have experience like that with his website. I know the person, and Sheikh Mufrad rahimahullah was dead right about him. He was on point about him because of the types of people that he's always been around and everything. So, I mean, if people have shubahat like that, then you stay away from them.
What would Sheikh Mufrad say about that person? I don't know. What would Sheikh Mufrad say about the one who you're talking about?
I don't know what he said specifically. I'm saying if that's what he said about him, then he was right.
This one says, Ustad, no Ustad, but Ustad. If people do specific group dua, group dua after salah, then do I have to get up and leave, or can I sit and wait for them?
You get up and leave because you show your lack of approval. When people are doing bid'ah, you get up and you leave.
Group dua?
Any type of group dua, any type of bid'ah,
Wow.
whether it's group dua, group dhikr, group reading the Quran, this type of thing for no purpose like this, except for just like, and they think that they're earning the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you get up and you leave.
So what's the reason for that? Like, why is it wrong?
It's not from the Sunnah. The Prophet didn't do it. We don't just go up and make up things from ourselves. We don't do things just because because see, it's a simple thing, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the deen what? Al-yawm akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum al-islam dinan, right? So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, today I've completed your religion for you and completed my favor upon you, and I'm pleased as Islam as your religion. So anything that was within the confines of the religion at that time, that's what we do. We don't make up anything after that time. After the death of the Prophet ﷺ, if it wasn't something that he did, so then these people, they make dua, they make this group dua, and they say, but it's good, we're doing good. So you think that you came with something good, that you came with something better than what the Prophet ﷺ used to do. Did he do it? No. So then you doing it, you're making this up. So do you think that now that your action is better than what he used to do? So you understand, you see like where this is going. And this type of bid'ah, this is why the danger of this is because you're saying like, okay, that the religion wasn't complete, that we had to add this into it because it didn't exist in the religion. No, this religion is complete, and whatever the Prophet ﷺ did and his companions did in his lifetime, you see, and when that revelation was coming down, and this was a part of the religion, halas, that's what we do. Whatever they didn't do, we don't do. Stay away from, because we just don't go making up ibadah and things, and this is why this is the danger, because every time that a person introduces a bid'ah into this ummah, we lose what? We lose a sunnah. He's pushing the people away from the sunnah. And then the people, the more and more emphasis and things, and then it gets to the point where they feel like their bid'ah is more important than the sunnah. Look at the people who fast, or here, what's the thing that they do in the middle of Sha'ban?
Oh, the 15th. Everyone fasts.
Everybody fasts the 15th of Sha'ban, right? No dalil whatsoever for this. They just made it up from themselves. But then you look at all the dalil of the Prophet ﷺ fasting Yawm al-Ithnain, Yawm al-Khamis, encouraging the people to fast 3 days in every month, encouraging the people to fast the days of the full moon. They don't fast these days, but they'll fast the day of that bid'ah, because that's more important to them than any other day. It becomes more important to them to the sunnah, and it brings them and takes them away from the sunnah. So whenever we start to do that, and whenever we open those doors, you're closing the doors of the sunnah. And then then the people, they no longer care about the sunnah anymore.
Someone says right here, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Adab safe. Can I make a? Oh, this guy acting like he's funny because he actually put Pacific, not yeah, PACI.
They listen, people paying attention.
The kunya. Can I make a Pacific kunya up and give it to myself even though I don't have any children?
What's the comment?
Abu Fulan.
What's that? Abu Fulan?
Abu, whatever, the father of. Yeah, I mean, we all did it in the beginning. So before I had children, the Yemenis used to come up to me and say, "What's your kunya? What's your kunya?" I don't know, man. Abu Abdurrahman, and everybody just started calling me Abu Abdurrahman, So, but then when I had my son, that's it, Abu Saif,
You might want to listen to this one because some guy got told off in the group. It says this was earlier when he said about Sheikh bin Baz's website. It says, Hamza, did you fail your chemistry test because you only did revision from Sheikh bin Baz's website?
He did fail his chemistry test, though.
Someone said
Somebody knew he failed his chemistry test. I wonder how that worked. Yeah.
I said it was that. And then someone said
Because he studied from Sheikh bin Baz's website. That's a good one. I like that.
Someone says
We got comedians in the chat. Yeah.
this person said Murad. Wallahi, the guy's name who said about bin Baz's website. His name is Murad. It says right here. So someone says Murad, wallahi, yesterday my friends started joking about me being gay. Wallahi, this happened. I feel like it's because what I said to Hamza. He's okay with it, I think. I say, generally, like if it's in person, I'd say yes, I'm okay, but it's going to lead to other stuff. So no, I'm not okay with it. Not because I take it personal. It's because I'm scared of what it will lead to. It makes sense. Like
Well, first off, it's not the behavior of the Muslims. We don't turn, we might joke around with certain individuals, but if we see, we don't go to extremes with the joking. I mean, just keep it, you keep it simple and you keep it within the confines of the religion, not to hurt the person's feelings and not to destroy the person all throughout social media. We joke with them, but once you see that it's not, it's getting out of hand. I mean, you don't even want it to get to that point of even getting close to getting out of hand, because then it's already once it gets out of hand, damage is done. But you see, what's become common amongst these dawah clowns on social media, and the person who introduced this, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yujazihi bi kulli ma yastahiq. Because, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man sanna fil islami sunnatan hasanatan falahu ajraha wa ajru man amila biha." وَلَا يَنْقُصُ مِنْ أَجْرِهِمْ شَيْئًا. And this ajr continues on until Yawm al-Qiyamah. And he said, وَمَنْ سَنَّ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ سُنَّةً سَيِّئَةً. So the first part he said, whoever, and obviously sanna fil Islami sunnah, it means to what?
I wouldn't say introduce.
Well, you're not introducing what you're going in line with something that's in line with the sunnah. So it's not like you're coming up with a new sunnah, but you're you're bringing it, reintroducing it back to the people and bringing it back to the people where the people stop acting upon it. And now the people act upon it. Because if you look at, we talk, Sheikh Mubil rahimahullah, Sunnah was dying in Yemen. You had Imam Shawkani, you had Amir al-Sanani, you had all these ulama that came and revived the Sunnah in Yemen. But at the time when Sheikh Mubil was there, rahimahullah, it was, from the time of Shawkani all the way up until the time of Sheikh Mubil, there was nobody really there pushing the Sunnah. So he came back and he revived all of that. He revived, praying in the shoes. He revived, praying in Yom al-Jumu'ah and after Fajr, for Fajr, Salat al-Fajr, Surah al-Insan, and Surah al-Sajda and Surah al-Insan. He revived all this stuff. These are just small, there's no such thing as a small sunnah, because every sunnah is alim. Every sunnah is alim. But I'm saying, he came back and he revived all that. So this is what the hadith is talking about, man. Sunnah fil Islami sunnatan hasanah. And all the sunnahs hasanah, that he gets the reward for reviving it, and then the people, and he gets the reward for all the people that act upon it. you know, without taking away from their reward anything. And as the reward will continue and continue on as long as the people keep acting on until the day of judgment. But the same thing, man, sunnat al-Islami sunnatan sayyi'ah. So a practice, like a person puts into practice some practice that's evil, something that has nothing to do with this deen. And then the people take it from him and they start to act upon it. So what about this da'wah clown that started the memes amongst the Muslims and started making memes and started making a mockery and a joke of people? This is the tariq of the mujrimeen. You know, كانوا من المؤمنين وإيش؟ إن الذين أجرموا كانوا من الذين آمنوا يضحكون وإذا مروا بهم يتغامزون وإذا انقلبوا إلى أهلهم انقلبوا فكهين. This is their behavior. This is the behavior of the mujrimeen, of the criminals. That they laugh at the believers, they make a mockery of the believers, and then they go back to the family all proud, like, look what I've done today. I'm defending our deen. You're not defending nothing. Well, like shaitan is laughing at you. So I mean, this type of thing of making mockery of people and laughing at people, you know, like I said, innocent joking amongst people who you know that know you're joking. That's one thing. I won't go up and joke around with somebody that doesn't know me and doesn't know my behavior and doesn't know, because if a person doesn't know you're joking with them, it could hurt them. It could cause problems. It could cause issues. What's the benefit now? You know? So, I mean, this type of thing, making memes about people, making mockery about people. And like I said, the person, and everybody knows who that person is. Allah you jazzy, he be kullu ma yastahiq. Houston, we have a problem. You know? In fact, you know, it's kind of funny because that's his father used to work for Boeing. So I mean, mashallah, you know, he talks about the Jews all day long, the Jews this, the Jews that, but his father works for the company supplying them with the weapons. So yeah, and everybody knows about it. He works for Boeing, or he used to work for Boeing. I don't know if he still does, but and then before that he worked for NASA. So
Boeing some gun company.
Huh?
Boeing some gun company.
They sell jets.
Oh.
So it's a plane.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a plane company. So yeah, and it's not permissible to be a part of selling anything. Like it's permissible to sell weapons, but you can't sell weapons to a person who is going to use those weapons to kill another Muslim with it.
Oh man.
Yeah. This one says, this question from downstairs. You know. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If a child parent is not Muslim, can someone give the child shahada if they haven't reached puberty?
If the child's parents?
I think what is meant is that if there's a child and his parents are not Muslim, can someone help that kid take shahada?
Oh, yeah, of course. But I mean, if the child is if they have the authority and they have the ability to take the child and teach the child Islam, and yeah, of course, you're saving that child from the hellfire. You know, you saw that with the Yehudi that was sick, and the Prophet ﷺ went to go visit him, and he commanded him to become Muslim. You know, and then he looked at his father, and his father told him, he said, "Ati' Abul Qasim." He said, "Obey Abu Qasim." So what does he mean? He said, accept Islam, obey Abu Qasim. And the kid became Muslim, you know, on his deathbed. You know, then he died, and then, you know, Allah subhanahu, you know, the Prophet sallallahu, you know, praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that, you know, alhamdulillah, you know, help me to save him from the hellfire. So
he died on his deathbed after his shahada? Oh man.
And his father was a Jew, so.
Wow.
Speaking about this, I was thinking about this earlier. So the Prophet ﷺ, he told the boy, he said, "Ishhad an la ilaha illallah." And فقال الغلام لا إله إلا الله. So let's just say when you're giving da'wah to one non-Muslim, is it sufficient for them just to say, based on that, La ilaha illallah, because the ghulam said La ilaha illallah? So someone who's not a Muslim, if they want to accept Islam, they don't have to say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna.
Where does it say that he said say la ilaha illallah? Bring up the hadith.
No, we heard from Salih al-Fawzan.
No, I don't care about that. Bring up the hadith.
No, because when I was listening, because Salih al-Fawzan was narrating the story.
I don't want the story. I want the hadith. I don't want what Sheikh Salih was on about. I want to see the hadith itself. But I mean, but him acting, if he truly believed La ilaha illallah in its proper meaning, and he truly understood what La ilaha illallah meant, and it means Muhammad Rasulullah. That's it. Because you can't truly tashhad and La ilaha illallah except that you believe that Muhammad is the final messenger. If you don't believe that Muhammad is the final messenger, then you don't really, you haven't accepted La ilaha illallah then, you know. So you're having fun. You're starting to look like Esed over here. Oh no, man. Are you gonna take forever to find this hadith and he's gonna be on? Did you find it? On what website? Ad-durar, the pearls. Ad-durra is a pearl, and durar is the plural form, is a plural, pearls. Why are you taking so long then if you found it? That's why I'm looking, because 2 seconds.
It's because one, I think.
أنا غلاما يهوديا كان يخدم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. From, I don't want that one. Let me see the takhrij. All right, this is the one from Bukhari. كان غلام يهودي يخدم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فمرض فأتاه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعوده فقعد عند رأسه فقال له أسلم فنظر إلى أبيه وهو عنده فقال له أطع أبا القاسم صلى الله عليه وسلم فأسلم فخرج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وهو يقول الحمد لله الذي أنقذه من النار. And then the narration, the other narration, أن غلاما يهوديا كان يخدم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فمرض فأتاه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعوده فقال له النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أسلم فنظر إلى أبيه وهو جالس عند رأسه فقال له أطع أبا القاسم فقال فأسلم قال فخرج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من عنده ويقول الحمد لله الذي أنقذه من النار. So he was he used to serve and serve the Prophet, he used to help him and assist him, and then he got sick and he was on his deathbed and he just told him Aslam. So he doesn't say whether, that's why I said show me the hadith, because I don't remember the hadith saying anything about La ilaha illallah or anything like that. He just said Aslam. And he looked at his father and he said, I'll put Abul Qasim for Aslama. That's it. That's all I remember from the hadith. So I don't know. Maybe you need to go back to that story and look at the narration, because again, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. You got to go back and check the narration. So not everybody is accustomed to narrating or authentic all the time. So that's why I said I don't care about the story. Give me the hadith. All right. Well, any other questions?
الشخص اللي كان في الخارج ولا كان عند النافذة؟ الشخص اللي كان في الخارج ولا كان عند النافذة؟
كيف عند النافذة؟ الجني هذا كان عند النافذة خلاص.
الشخص اللي كان موجود عند الخارج هو نفس الشخص اللي في النافذة، اللي هو لم يعني عند النافذة فقط.
تقصد ذاك الشخص الذي مع شعره طويل.
This question says, Ustad, how does a baby student of knowledge deal with major ulama warning against and refuting a sheikh from Yemen who people used to take knowledge from?
How does a baby student of knowledge?
How does a baby student?
Does it mean like a baby, like a small student of knowledge, or does it mean like an actual baby?
No, I think like a beginner.
Okay.
They know the thing as a baby. So like, how does like a beginner sort of knowledge deal when a major alim or ulama, he said like plural, ulama refute and speak out against a sheikh from Yemen who people used to take knowledge from? Stay away.
No, really, you got it. I mean, no, that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about the fitna that happened in Yemen. You got to know the situation that they're talking about. There's nothing you can do. Keep your mouth shut. That's what you can do. And don't get involved in the fitna if you don't know what's going on and you don't understand what's going on. If you really, really don't know and you really don't understand what's going on, you keep your mouth shut and you keep learning the deen, because if you don't understand what's going on and you can't go back. Like if you have the ability to sit down and you got one sheikh who's known for being a Salafi against another sheikh that's known for being a Salafi, and they're going at each other, one of them is wrong. Now, who do we follow? See, if you don't have the ability to sit down and look at what he says, and look at what he says, look at what he's saying about this person, and look what he's saying, and then use what you've studied from the Quran and the Sunnah to make a just, estimate of who's on the haqq and who's not. Because if this one's attacking this one, and they're both supposed to be Salafis, and then one of them's the zalim and one of them's the mazlum. And if you run your mouth without knowledge, then you end up doing dhulm to the mazlum. You end up oppressing the person who's already being oppressed. And this has happened over and over and over because people who have no right to be speaking about these issues, they want to take on the responsibility. Nobody's giving them this responsibility, and it's not wajib upon them to take on this responsibility. For one, we're in America. What right now is the concern of the communities, the Muslim communities in America, with what's going on between a sheikh in Saudi and a sheikh in Yemen, or 3 or 4 so-called sheikhs in Yemen against one sheikh in Yemen? What's the concern of this in America? Why would you bring this to people who can't even understand al-usul al-thalatha, can't even understand kitab al-tawheed, can't even barely read the Quran correctly, can't understand Surah Al-Fatiha, but you want to bring all this fitna, and you want to make this your da'wah? Ya akhi, anta mufsid fil ard. Wallahi, the people who do this are mufsiduna fil ard. They are the people, when you read Surah Al-Baqarah, you read the first 4 pages of Surah Al-Baqarah, that's it. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to them, وَلَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ قَالُوا إِيش إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ. They think they're muslihun, but all they're doing is causing fasad and causing tafriq bain an-nas because they have no knowledge. They have no knowledge to talk about these issues. Even I sat down and I watched this issue over and over, and I read everything from both sides, and I do not speak about it. It's not my place to speak about it. And why would I take problems going on overseas and bring them here and make this the centerpiece of my da'wah? Wallahi, the people that make that the centerpiece of their da'wah, what's going on, this sheikh is this and that, this they said about this and that. These people have no knowledge. They can't give anything else to the people, so they have to keep them busy with what? This type of foolishness. They have to keep them involved in drama, because that's the only way that they can keep a following. Like I told you, I mentioned this before, there are certain people, they can only make a name for themselves in what? Times of fitna. When the times of fitna come out and the fitna's happening, that's when they can come and make a name for themselves. They can exploit that. But when it comes time for peace, comes time to educating the people and being patient with the people, and you know what I'm saying, sitting down and teaching the people, nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found until the next fitna comes, and bam, he pops back out again. He's all over the place like a Fox News reporter or something. A'udhu billah. And that's why, I look at these people, like I said, like that dude in Houston, he's like the Alex Jones of this ummah, because of people like him, and not just him. There are people that call themselves Salafi, but all they're concerned about is the drama. The drama. You go take their students and start asking them questions in fiqh, asking them questions in usul al-fiqh, asking them questions in mustalah hadith. They can't answer nothing. The students can't answer nothing. Ask them what Sheikh Rabia said about Fulan. What Sheikh Rabia, oh, mashallah, they know everything. They can sit there and they can sit there and talk to you all day long. But knowledge? What, have y'all studied these books of Jarh wa Ta'dil? Do you even know these books? Have you ever even looked at them before? Have you done the research about hadith? Do you know to sit there and know why the ulama are saying this about that person and how they came to the conclusion about that person? Be just. Be just, and if you can't be just, if you don't have the knowledge for that, keep your mouth shut. Don't get involved in it. Nobody's telling you have to get involved in it. None of that right now affects what we're doing here. Nothing. All right, I can teach the Kitab wa Sunnah, and they can go back and forth with each other, and like I said, I don't talk to people about that. And people keep asking me don't ask me about this stuff. Don't ask me about what's going on in Yemen, what's going on here. Akhi, that's none of your business. If you don't know what's going on, you don't need to know what's going on. Period. Khalas. What you need to do is focus on you, yourself. You know, the knowledge that you need to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala correctly and to follow the sunnah correctly. That's what you need. You don't need fitna. And you don't need to, be tuned into every drama that's happening in the Muslim world. It's happening, khalas. And the people that have the knowledge to deal with it, deal with it. Everybody else, you keep your mouth shut and you study the deen and you practice the deen and do the actions that are beloved to Allah. It's not beloved, for you to go get involved in fitna for no reason. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to, and then on top of that, to make that the centerpiece of your da'wah? Mufsidun fil ard, wallah. Mufsidun. Allah musta'an. I mean, we are supposed to be following the Salaf. The Salaf are the alladhina aslahu ma afsad an-nas. Mush al-aqs. The Salaf come behind the people and they fix what the people corrupted. The people came and they tried to corrupt the aqeedah of the people. The Salaf came along and did what? Fixed it. Called the people back to the sunnah. Called the people back to the correct understanding, the correct beliefs and the correct aqeedah. That's what we do. We're supposed to be the muslihun. We're supposed to be the ones that correct things, not the people that cause the corruption, cause the split, cause the division. Allah musta'an. And most of this division, wallahi, is all because of a bunch of people running around America and Britain and all these places without knowledge. Wallahi, you ask them the most basic questions in the deen, and they can't even answer these questions. Allah musta'an. Allah musta'an.
This question says, Ustad, can we pray Isha till Fajr or delay till last third?
According to the ulama, the time for Isha is 12 o'clock. That's the final time, and then anything after that is the waqt al-darura. Like, for example, let's say you fell asleep or you were busy with something that you could pray after that time. But you should pray before 12 o'clock. You shouldn't delay it beyond that. And Allah knows best.
This question says, what is the difference between Aqidah and Manhaj?
We already spoke about that before in the previous lesson.
This question says,
your Aqidah is your Aqidah. That's your beliefs. Your Manhaj is how you deal with the people that call the beliefs other than your beliefs.
This question says, Ustad.
So, like, for example, going back to that, the Aqidah, like what? Like when our beliefs in Asma'illahi the Asma' wa Sifat. These are our beliefs. Then you have the Ash'aris, the Mu'tazila, the Jahmiyyah, the Maturidiyya, and all these people that have beliefs other than our beliefs. Now, when we talk about the Minhaj, and even the Salaf before, they used
Now the sound is on. Hamza, I can't hear anything. No audio. Hamza, look down.
All right, I'll hold it here because I think the mic is about to die. But can I hear it now?
Hamza isn't looking down.
You can hear it now.
Let me see.
It's on now.
The sound is on. Hamza, I can't hear
Yeah, but how much did they not hear though? That's the problem.
All right, I'll hold it here because I think the mic is about to die. Can I hear it now? You have to ask them.
I'm saying, how much did they not hear?
Tell the chat. Tell the chat to tell you.
I just said it 3 times. Who was I talking to? خلاص. It's the microphone is dead. That's what. But anyways, take one more question. So, what was the question that you just asked, anyways?
What would you give?
Oh yeah, leave the country. Leave. Nobody's telling you have to be in America. It's not wajib on you to be here. Leave. Work. Stay busy working, save your money, and leave this country and go get married overseas and live your life out. Go learn your religion and practice your religion and be amongst the righteous people. You have the hadith of the person that killed 99 men. What was the advice? When he went to the Rajul al-Alim after he killed the 100th person, what did he say? He said, وَمَنْ يَحُولُ بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَ تَوْبَةٍ. And what's blocking you from making tawbah? إِنْ طَلَقَ إِلَىٰ أَرْضِ كَذَا وَكَذَا فَإِنَّ بِهَا أُنَاسٌ يَعْبُدُونَ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى فَاعْبُدِ اللَّهَ مَعَهُمْ. He said, go to this land because there's a land of righteous people that are worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Go worship Allah with them. وَلَا تَرْجِعْ إِلَىٰ أَرْضِكَ فَإِنَّهَا أَرْضَ سُوءٍ. And don't go back to your land because your land is a land of evil. So this is a land of evil. The West is a land of evil. If you can't practice your religion and you become a maftoon to that point, then you save your money and you leave this country. And you go to a place of righteousness where people are worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you go worship Allah with them. You don't sit here and stay here and try to figure out how you're going to deal with corruption. You leave. If the corruption is getting too much to you and too much for you, you can't control yourself. Everybody should have the intention to leave. Nobody should have the intention to stay here. The only people that have the intention of staying amongst the kuffar are the people that have hypocrisy in their hearts. Even if you don't have the means to leave, you should have the intention to leave. You should at least die with the intention to leave this country and not be amongst these kuffar.
So, consider the fact, we have a Jumat, right? Like a Muslims, right? Like Jumat. You could leave, that's what you call it, right? So you could leave, you know what I'm saying, right?
Mm.
So you could leave them to go somewhere better. Is that permissible?
Well, that's your duty. It's not permissible to be sitting here, living here, when we don't have control and we can't practice the vast majority of the things of our religion. We shouldn't be here in the first place. All of the Muslims, every Muslim here should have the intention of going and being in a Muslim country. At least the intention. And that's not meaning that everybody's going to have the means. We know people are poor, people have situations. But at least have the intention that if Allah opens the doors for me, I'm out of here. I'm gone. Bye-bye. I'm on a plane, rear view mirror type understanding. You understand? And you keep this country in the rear view mirror. Because there's plenty of Muslim countries that you can go to with righteous people in righteous areas where you can worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, practice your deen, and you don't have to deal with this type of fitna. But you're staying here and you're comfortable here, and now you want to figure out how can I deal with the fitna here? You can't. It's already overtaken you if you got to that point. Leave. Go study your deen and study how to be a proper Muslim. Practice, because when you're around people who are trying to be righteous, it's a lot easier for you to do the things that they're doing.
Now let's say, you like I said, you have a Jamaat here. Is it permissible to come back to visit? Or like you have a mother, or would it be permissible to come back to that community?
I'm not saying you have to make a hijrah. I'm just saying leave. If you're making the intention of migration, going and leaving, never coming back, then it's permissible for you to come back for 3 days.
For 3 days?
For 3 days, which means just don't come back because there's no point. By the time you get out of the airport, you're gonna have to go right back to the airport and get back on the plane and leave again. So the point is that you can only stay for 3 days. So I'm not saying that you have to make the intention of hijrah, but I'm just saying you should make the intention to leave, to get out, and go practice your deen with people who practice this deen and be amongst the righteous people. Because that way it becomes easier for you to do things. If everybody's sitting there trying to memorize the Quran, you just naturally become inclined to memorize the Quran. But see, everybody's sitting here, everybody's doing foolishness, so now you're motivated to do foolishness with the people that are doing foolishness. Because the environment, it's the environment. That's why he told the man that killed 100 men to go and leave his people, because it's a place of evil. And as long as you stay amongst the people of evil, you're going to continue to do that evil. So you have to go, and you know, the only way that you can cure any sickness, if the sickness in your body is caused by heat, then what do you have to do? You can only fix it with its opposite, cold. If the sickness in your body is caused by too much moisture in your body, then you can only fix it with its opposite, which is what? You have to take herbs and things that dry out the extra moisture. You can't, if you take herbs that add moisture to the body, you end up making yourself sicker because you're adding to the problem. So now you are in a society that's full of corruption. How do you treat and what's the treatment for this? This is that you have to do the opposite. You have to leave the corrupted environment and you have to get into an environment of righteousness. And that's the only thing that can cure, you know, the ailments in the heart. You can't remain in the center of the corruption and think that your heart is going to somehow, because you take a lesson, you know, once a day, or no, because let's say that you're sitting here, you know, in a live stream or lessons in the masjid for 1 hour a day, 1.5 hours a day. You still got like how many? 22 and a half hours in a day of what are you being exposed to? So if you're not able to sit here and like be in the masjid where you can sit the majority of the time in the masjid, you got an imbalance going. So you got like, you go to public school, sitting around all types of foolishness all day, like lies and corruption and fornication and drugs and stupidity and gangs and bad language and disrespect and everything that you can ever imagine from corruption. And you sit in that environment for 6 to 8 hours every single day. But then you come and take a class for an hour. What's going to affect you more? That 6 to 8 hours is going to affect you more than that 1 hour. If that 1 hour affected you a lot, then you would want to leave. You would hate even going to that environment of the 6 to 8 hours. And you'd be doing anything that you can to get out of that environment and leave that environment. So the fact that you sit here, you're comfortable in the, you know, living amongst the kuffar. You can't be comfortable living amongst these people. Yeah, hey, look at it. I mean, wallahi, just look. I was telling you just the other day. What was I? I was joking, but I was being dead serious. I mean, they had the Mexicans next door to my house yesterday. They had a party after Asr. And what did I tell you? I get 6 sins between the door and the car.
You said what? You get
6 sins between the door and the car. 6 sins.
I think literally you said 15.
15 sins? Whatever. 15, that was an exaggeration. But I'm just saying, just walking out the door, turning around like, oh my God. There you go. 1, 2 sins right there. Then you got the music playing. Then you got all this. And just driving down the street, Akhi, how many times you see me driving? And I'm like, please, Ya Rabbi, don't let somebody be in front of me because I'm sitting here driving like this. How many times do you see that? Oh, you don't pay attention in the back, do you? He's probably doing the same thing. I'm sitting there driving like this, hoping like somebody doesn't just run out in front of me. Because what? What do you do? You're getting sins all over the place all day long. It's a corrupt society. So how can you be comfortable here? Seriously, how can you be comfortable here? Number one, they don't want us here. You see that they talk about the rights for everybody. They talk about the rights for dogs and cats. They talk about the rights for these gay, homosexual pieces of garbage. They talk about all this type of stuff, right? All the abominable people, they talk about their rights. But then when it comes to the rights of what? Muslims, do you ever hear them talk about that? No. They don't care. They insult us, they talk about it, but they don't want us here. So why would you sit here and you know that these people hate us? And you know that they hate us because what we represent. We represent morality. We represent correctness and uprightness and sunnah. That's what we're supposed to represent. When the people see Muslims, that's what they should see. They should see like this man is not concerned with the dunya. This man cannot be enticed with, just tossing females at him, like what the Russians always used to do whenever a person would, try to come and be all religious, they start sending prostitutes to him to weaken, to see which one he's going to accept. And then they film him, and then that way they got something to blackmail him with and control him with. The Muslims should never fall into this trap. And because we represent what we represent, everything that they're trying to push, we're against it. We're against it. They look at all the agendas that they're trying to push. Well, everything in our deen is against this. So how can you sit here and be pleased living amongst them? And you know that your kids are getting taught this. You're getting taught this. And even if you're just living in the society, you know what I'm saying? You're learning it. Go overseas. Go to Yemen and ask a Yemeni about, well, what are your pronouns? He's going to be like, what are you talking about, Akhi? Shut up. Are you stupid? You know what I'm saying? It's like this stupidity can only, find a place to grow like an evil weed in the most corrupt land. The land that has been left, and nobody's taking care of that land. Nobody's tried to keep that land pure. So you see these most corrupt weeds just sprouting up in this type of land. How can I live here? How could you be comfortable here? How could you wake up every day just happy to walk out your door like you're Leave It the Beaver or something like that? Come on, Akhi. So I mean, this land is corrupt. You're going through what you're going through because of you growing up here, and you growing up in this American culture and this Western culture and you've accepted what you've accepted. Now reject it. Go back to the Quran and the Sunnah. Go back to the obedience of Allah. And the closer and closer that you get to things that are pleasing to Allah, the further that the less you're gonna want to be here. Like I said, they don't want us here. Khalas. I remember when Donald Trump, when he did his, remember he did the Muslim ban? Nah, man, that's what I said. This is the one thing that a kafir did that I said good for him. Because that's good. Keep the Muslims in the Muslim countries. In fact, we should all go back to the Muslim countries. Shouldn't be here in the first place. Let Allah destroy this country. We don't need to be sit here, because if you sit here amongst these people, then you're going to get destroyed with them. And it happens all the time with all the hurricanes, the tornadoes and earthquakes and all this type of destruction that they talk about global warming. It's not global warming. It ain't got nothing to do with global warming. It's the sins of the people. And Allah is punishing the people for their sins. But the people don't want to accept that. They want to say, oh, this is just a natural phenomenon. No, stupidity is not a natural phenomenon. Well, I guess it is kind of, because, the people, they seem to accept stupidity all throughout mankind, even though they continue to get destroyed, because I guess it is a natural phenomenon. But it's from shaitan, from the people in their obedience to shaitan and not their obedience to Allah. You go back to the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there's no way that you're going to sit and learn the Quran and learn the Sunnah and you're going to want to stay here. There's no way. Allah musta'an. إلهنا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
So you're gonna call that, huh?
Yes, he is.
There you go. Oh.